What is going on, Mario Kart Wii Mogi Lounge gamers? My name is Riram, and I'm coming to you to bring you 5 tips on how to get absolutely crackers at Lounge. Alright? Now, I'm not the best player in the world, but I did rise from the ashes of bronze all the way to that illustrious, sexy 7K mark. Alright? I didn't stay at it, but I did reach it, and I think it's a pretty reasonable goal for any new player to achieve. It only took me about a year. If I can do it, you can do it too. And just to be clear, this is based on my experience. This isn't a definitive how-to guide. It's just 5 tips, basically. Number 1, don't play when you're tired. Okay? When it's 4 a.m. And your eyes are drooping, you're not going to be making those cracked plays. Your mind isn't sharp. You're going to be playing like a pile of shit. If you want to be actually climbing the ladder, that is Mogi Lounge, you got to be playing at peak performance. Like I said, this is from my personal experience. And I've been the guy that stays up all night, all right? 6 a.m., waits for the sunrise to come out before he goes to bed. I've been that guy. And let me tell you, it's not a fun experience. Being sleep deprived and playing lounge is the worst way to play it, okay? First of all, you're playing like shit. Second of all, you're playing with a bunch of people you normally don't play with, i.e. Japanese, Australian players. They're lagging up the room. You have no idea who they are. They're tilting you. You're tired, so you're tilting yourself. It's just not a good time. We're gaming. We're professional Mogi Lounge gamers. On the opposite end of that spectrum, don't be the guy that wakes up first thing in the morning, checks Discord, drops C, turns on the Wii, and plays a lounge event. Don't be that guy. You want to at least have a water or some breakfast in your system before you go on gaming for the day. Think about it this way, okay? You wake up, you can into an event, and you're a little brain foggy, so you're not playing as well as you could be. Drop about 60 points. Teammate scores 80. Y'all get 5th overall. You know what that means? You started your day off with a fucking L. You woke up out of your bed and took an L, dude. Now, you could win potentially, but still, the point stands. You could lose. And one last thing I want to add to this idea of playing at the peak performance. Just do a little bit of warm-ups before you play. Get some TTs in. Practice some shortcuts, right? Do a little bit of worldwiding. Not much, but even like 10-15 minutes of TTing can help you actually play better. Number 2. Number 2, compounding off number 1, the idea of playing at peak performance is to utilize drugs to enhance your gameplay. Yes, when I said 5 tips to get cracked, I mean smoking crack. Okay, not really. I'm more so talking about caffeine. If I want to be honest with you guys, it helps. Just having a cup of coffee or two while you're playing can boost your energy levels, boost your focus, wake you up in the morning. You'll be all fine and dandy. All right, think about it this, by the way. G Fuel is marketed towards gamers to be the gamer fuel, gamer energy drink, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And what is it exactly? It's just a bunch of caffeine. That's all it is. There's some other pre-workout bullshit that's thrown in it, but at the end of the day, the thing that's actually getting you that nice buzz, that nice boost of energy is the caffeine. Now, don't be going overboard with this and be slonking back energy drinks all day. You don't want to be that stimulant addict. Me personally, I would just have a cup of coffee or two. And like I said, it helped with the energy, the focus. Warning, caffeine can be dangerous. Get your fucking heart pumping way too fast. Give you a goddamn heart attack. Fuck up your nervous system. You'll be shaking like a fish. So use your brain. Now, about to get a little bit controversial on these kids. The second drug I would use to enhance gameplay experience is a little bit of a nicotine, baby. Oh, yeah. This guy right here. Now, what exactly is nicotine? It is a far more addictive substance and potentially dangerous substance. So, for all my little young kids out there, please ignore this step and move on. For all the adults out there who actually are responsible and can take care of themselves, keep an open mind. Nicotine is a little bit harder to describe the kind of energy it gives you, because honestly, it just makes me like want to throw up and gives me a headache, but at the same time gives me that nice little energy buzz. It's a weird one for sure. And more specifically, the stuff I was using is this. It's just little nicotine pouches. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend chain smoking a pack of cigs or going through an entire can of dip while playing Mogi Lounge just to help you. These things are in theory healthier, all right, but it's still, an addictive chemical substance, so it's definitely not something that's good for you. Yeah, it's hard to say if they really have any benefit at all. But there was one time where I didn't have them on me for like a week, and I was scoring like shit. And then I went out and bought some, and the next Mogi I played, I scored 120, MVP the event. So could have been just a little placebo effect, a little bit of luck flipping here and there. But in my mind, I think it does probably help a little bit. Although, yeah, if you don't like do nicotine, like don't start because I made this video. Please don't. Please just don't. But if you do, if you're on like a vape and you vape all the time, consider this alternative because I think vaping is far worse and the buzz you get out of this is far better. Holy fuck, bro. I'm so nicked out, bro. I'm buzzing so fucking hard, baby. Third step. Open up your ears, boys and girls, because this is the most important one by a landslide. And that is, you must constantly be adding new strategy. And this tip number 3 is, you must constantly be learning and adding new strategy into your gameplay. In short, get better. I know it sounds obvious, like no shit, you just want to be getting better all the time. But there are players out there that do 100 plus Mogies every month, whatever, and they just don't gain any MMR at all, and they always stay the same rank, and they never get better, and they never improve, and you don't want to be that guy. So, let's start at the very bottom. Tier 1 Iron players, what do? First thing you do, learn the lines, learn the strategies. You don't got to be Luke, but what I did when I was a bronze player first starting out season 3, I took one difficult track that I knew was difficult, that not a lot of people could drive well, and I made it my goal to become proficient at it so where I could drive it every time. And that track was a DDR. Okay? So in Tier 1 Season 3, I learned how to do the sand hop and the wall glitch, right? And I would just spam pig DDR, and because I knew how to do those two things, I could just run it almost every time. And it was very easy. So, from there, I went and picked a different track. I picked CM. Because in Tier 1, no one could drive on the damn escalators well. And once I learned how to do that, it was very easy to run that track. And so on and so forth. You get the picture. Learn the lines of the tracks. Learn the important shortcuts. Alright, just go one by one, step by step. You don't got to implement everything at once. But once you do get it all down, you'll certainly be ranking up in no time. Okay, so now you're a pretty decent player. You know how to drive. You're not fucking falling off every turn. What do you do then? What else can you learn? Okay. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated and hard to pinpoint. But basically you have to learn very, hate to use the word, but niche things. Stuff like backspam, stuff like how to avoid backspam, mini-map reading, making sure you're using your mirror correctly, and just overall learning from different situations. So one specific story I have is when I got to Tier 2 for the first time in Season 3, I remember somebody put a Nana on the Wario's Gold Mine TS ramp on the uphill section right before the boost pad, and I didn't see it because it's very hard to see, and I hit it, and I got hit off and got the bad respawn. So ever since then, I never forget to look forward when going on the downhill and see if there's any traps and see what line the person in front of me is taking to avoid that line and hopefully avoid any backspam. That's just one situation out of hundreds and thousands you're going to experience in Mogi Lounge, right? How many times is Warriors Gold Mine picked? Probably once every 3 Mogies. It's not a common track, right? But that one thing that I learned is going to help me in every race to come. And that's kind of the mindset that you need. You need to be learning these very small things, small situations, and just keep adding them into your arsenal. So that way, when you have these very like intricate and weird situations, you can react to them in the best way possible based on your previous experience. So yeah, like I said, other stuff like mini-map reading, looking at the bottom spots, seeing if they're taking shortcuts or if they're going around the cuts or if they're shrooming, things like that. And overall basic vehicle control, right? I remember when I was a lower tier player, I didn't know what a chain drift or a slip drift, right? I didn't really know what that was or how to do it. And I barely knew what soft drifting and delay drifting was. And once I started implementing those things and learned about them, my driving became a lot cleaner and my overall vehicle control became very clean. And having good vehicle control means being able to better react to things and avoid traps in your way. Another thing I've seen lower players do is they just don't utilize their mirror correctly. Like they'll just go an entire race and not press the mirror button. It doesn't make sense to me. Or on the other end, they'll hold the mirror button down in a straightaway for 10 seconds, be like looking backwards for the entire straight, just no regard for what's in front of them. I don't understand it. Just give it a couple flicks and you'll be all right. The best way to learn new information and new strategies in this game is definitely by just watching the top tier players play the game, right? They're going to be busting out stuff you've never seen before, and it might be very difficult to learn, but at least you know what it is, right? Because this is a luck-based game, and a lot of the time you win and you don't really know why you won. But once you start implementing new things in your gameplay and you realize, okay, I did this and that's why I won, it can be very rewarding, right? Instead of just being like, oh, I randomly dodged the shock and a shroom fell on me so I got first or something like that. Having those races where you're like, okay, I actually did just play better than everyone else and that's why I got a good spot is very rewarding, and it pushes you to keep playing and keep learning new things. Number 4. Do not get distracted by Discord. It can be very easy to just look at the chat after each race and kind of say what happened to you, but guess what? No one fucking cares, okay? And you're just going to get shit on probably because nobody cares. Also, if you're doing poorly in the event, seeing other people talk can just be extremely tilting. If they say some dumb shit like, I got so lucky that race, and you're just sitting there on like 0 points after 2, yeah, it's not a good look. The other side of this is do not get distracted by voice chats. Yeah, I know it can be very fun to play with your friends, but if we're being serious and you want to actually improve, see your MMR go up, the best way to play is definitely without voice chat and without any distractions. I will say playing with like 1 or 2 people can be okay, especially if they're in the same event. You can kind of discuss the races that happen and, you know, talk about what you did right and wrong, things like that. It can be helpful. But overall, I find that having people talking to you and listening to what they're saying is just distracting overall. Playing the game with the volume loud where you can actually, you know, hear things and react to them, it's a small detail, but it can be helpful as compared to playing in a call of 4 or 5 people where everyone's just kind of having their own weird conversation that you don't really care about, right? So this isn't like a crazy game changer. I know a lot of you probably don't even play the game in call, but from my experience, when I was making that final push from 6K to 7K, I made sure not to be calling with anyone because I wanted to be super try-hard mode, and it ended up working out pretty well. Number 5. I didn't make a tip number 5 because I got too lazy. So I'm just going to wing it and give a couple things on my mind that I think could be helpful. Number 1, don't play while drunk. It's just terrible. You just can't play as well. You just can't do it. It's just not worth it. Number 2, don't beef with players. Like, this kind of adds on to like the don't talk in the Discord. Like, it's just weird. Like, just be chill. Just don't be like a dick to everyone. Like, it makes your like mindset more toxic, and then you start kind of focusing in on one player, and you're like, oh, this guy thinks he's fucking better than me. Oh, he sniped me. Now he thinks he's hot shit. I gotta fucking get his ass. Like, it's not worth it. You want to be chill. You want to be cool. what I'm saying? Number 3, it's kind of corny, but like, don't give up immediately. There's a lot of stuff in this game that's like fucking hard to do, dude. Like, and you're not gonna get it for like a week or two of grinding. I remember when I learned RWS turn skip. It took me like a week or two. Yeah, it took me like a week or two to learn. Other players get it faster. Like, I have no doubt that I just wasn't as good as it and wasn't as good as learning as other players. But that was one thing that I struggled with for like a long time. And I'm still not like 100% consistent. But the point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of stuff in this game that's hard. But just keep going. You'll start to figure it out eventually. Something else that I just thought about regarding like vehicle control and driving faster on lines, the world records or the top 10 times, some of them have like actual, what's it called, button mapping, right? And you can literally see the direction of their stick and when they press the buttons and when they hop and stuff like that. And you can learn like very detailed minor stuff that you might not have like thought about in like 100 years of playing the game just by watching them play and looking at their controller and what they actually do and their movements, right? Add on to this, there's just a lot of tutorials. Like, Arc has so many tutorials on so many shortcuts and stuff like that. It's easier to get good at the game in 2021 than it ever has been, in my opinion. I guess the last little tip I could give is don't be afraid to just take a break from the game. After playing the game for hundreds of events, you can become very burnt out. So don't be afraid to just take a few months off, kind of reset yourself, refresh yourself. You can come back with a new mindset and a new drive to improve, which can be very helpful. Thank you all for watching this shitty video. I hope you learned something. Drop a comment, drop a like. I might make more stuff like this in the future. Possibly. Probably not anything as informative as this, even though this wasn't even the most informative video. But I don't really have any other ideas. But I might just make some like lists or some shit like that in the future. Could be pretty puggy woggy. Yeah. Peace, bitch.